My name is Nelson Mandela. Amanda!
The world's eyes turned to Johannesburg on Sunday for the international premiere of the movie Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. Leading man Idris Elba made it to the City of Gold in time, despite suffering an asthma attack on the plane shortly before it was due to take off from London.
The process for me as an actor was to understand South Africa, understand South Africans as a whole, and obviously Mr. Mandela himself. My research was very extensive of understanding who Mr. Mandela was as a young man and who he became as an older man, and that was the focus of my research.
The film tells the story of South Africa's favorite son, and corporates like Nedbank were proud supporters of the premiere, as it highlighted the unique personal connection we share with the unfolding events.
What he stood for our country, the vision that he held, the actions that he took inspire millions then and today. And I think for us, our association is to remind people of what we need to do to complete his vision and actually to give effect to it and stand together as a nation to be proud and as leaders and actually fulfill that dream.
My cousin spent 11 years on Robben Island with Madiba, and having family members leave the family for that length of time was quite tough. But I'm so glad that in some way that all the toughness, all the struggles, all the hard time managed to come together today here and celebrate the iconic man and what he's done for South Africa.
With the stars on local shores, Jensu spent quality time with the British actress who underwent prosthetics for about 4 hours a day during filming, Naomi Harris.
I think the person that loved it the most was Winnie Madikizela Mandela. She especially acknowledged you. She held your hand after the screening of the movie, and how was that feeling?
Yeah, it was extraordinary because, you know, she's the critic that I was most concerned about and most wanted to please, because it's her life that I'm portraying on screen, and I wanted to do that faithfully. But she's over the moon. She said, you know, she was really moved. She said that's exactly how it was. You really did a great job, so I'm so happy.
We made it to capture this story, to capture the men and women behind the iconic status that they have. It's an independent movie that has production value. It's epic, it's intimate, it's got great action sequences, fantastic wealth of talent and detail in the performances and in the worlds that are created. Mandela's life is, it was and is one of the most incredible lives that I think lived. I mean, what a man to go through everything that he's gone through, and to have such forgiveness and have such a sense of the future. And I hope that the next generation of filmmakers will see this, and audiences will see this and learn something from his determination.
What is it that you personally want?
I have beautiful children, a beautiful wife. I want them to walk free in their own land.
The film already won the coveted Audience Favorite Feature Award at the Aspen Film Fest, and South Africans hold high hopes for it come the 2014 Academy Awards.
Shall we begin?
Incredible stuff, and we're waiting for those awards. Well, Mandela Long Walk to Freedom, the Nelson Mandela biopic, it opened over the weekend as it premiered in South Africa, and truly an international star. Well, this morning on our Feel Good Expresso show, we've got Dr. Riaad Moosa, but this time around, they call you Kathy.
They call me Kathy. And Kathy was like, always, I don't know why they got a comedian to play me. What is funny about the long walk?
And of course, Kathy that we're talking about is apartheid activist Dr. Ahmed Kathrada. I mean, so he said he didn't know why they got a comedian to play him.
He's actually a very humorous guy. A lot of the very witty. A lot of what he says has a lot of meaning, but it's also slightly humorous. For example, I asked him how did it feel when he was going to be released after being in prison for 26 years. He says, well, the head of the prison came to us and said, I just received a fax from prison headquarters and you're going to be released tomorrow. And my first question was, what's a fax?
Wow.
What is this?
Sure.
Wow. You know, and it's humorous, but it's got so much meaning, like they lost a whole portion of their lives.
Wow. How did you go about preparing for this role? I mean,
I read as much as I could. I watched as much as I could. I spent a lot of time with Mr. Kathrada, and just those moments actually changed my life.
But, you know, it's one of the things I said to Riaad on the red carpet as well. How do you bump into the guy that's still alive? I'm almost saying that it's easier playing someone who's not around anymore. He's still around. He was there, and this is a real story. What is it like playing someone that's still with us?
You have a lot of responsibility, because I was spending a lot of time with him, and I was reading the script, and I noticed there were departures from the truth. Obviously, with dramatic license, you have to do so, and to maintain a narrative, you have to do so. But now I want also to have a responsibility to this man that I've bonded with.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
So I decided I'm going to write the email to Oscar winner, Gladiator screenwriter, Bill Nicholson. I don't know what... Listen, Bill, I really enjoyed your script, but here are some suggestions. And I don't know why I did it, but it was just that, you know, the feeling that I have a responsibility to Kathy at the same time, you know. So, but he was very gracious, and he listened to me, and he actually made some adjustments to the script.
Tell me about this. I mean, after playing Dr. Ahmed Kathrada and having researched as much as you did and being in the scenes in the movie, do you feel like you have a better understanding and appreciation of South African history?
Without a doubt. The thing is, we hear it so often, the story so often, we become detached to the emotional reality of it. For example, I was 35 last year when we started shooting the movie. Kathy was 35 when he was sentenced to life in prison.
Wow.
Right? And I was thinking about this, and he was in love with a white woman, interestingly enough. And he always jokes, he's like, well, I always wish I was caught under the Immorality Act. that way I would have got 4 years instead of life. And I was thinking about this like a few days later when we were on the ship from Robben Island. I was still 35, just a few days older. Kathy was released when he was 60.
Sure.
You know, he got 26 years in prison. Madiba did 27, he did 26. We don't know why. Indians always get a discount. We're not really sure.
Really? He didn't just say that. He didn't.
And Mr. K, he's such a humble man. You know, and you just grow to understand the true sense of sacrifice. For example, another thing is, at a certain point, they thought they were going to get the death penalty. It was almost inevitable.
Yes.
And they all met, the Rivonia trialists, and they said, okay, we're going to get the death penalty. If it's a death penalty, what are we going to do? How are we going to approach the appeal? Because by South African law, you had leave to appeal, right? They said, we're not going to appeal.
Wow.
Because if you didn't appeal, if you appealed, you would lose momentum. The struggle will lose momentum. They won't be able to make as much impact. Wow. So they all decided, okay, if we're going to get the death penalty, we're all going to die.
I mean, hence the power of the words, it is an ideal for which I'm prepared to die.
And it was truth, you know? And you have to get into the emotion of it. And, you know, these are normal people. These are real people.
Yes, dude, I feel like I'm living it just by talking to you right now about it. But congratulations on this, I think, an amazing role. Great follow-up to your movie.
Yeah,
and I'm sure the wife is also very proud, and the kids.
Yes, definitely. And it's interesting, I got very emotional because of my kids speaking to Kathy, because that time they weren't allowed any contact with kids.
Children, yeah.
Like they couldn't even see children. Yeah. So once they were on Robben Island, it was like, you're going to be there until you die, and you will never see a child. And Kathy only saw a child after, I think, 22 years. Wow. Right, and it happened suddenly. It was like on a Eid. His lawyer came, it was in Paulsmoor prison, and the lawyer happened to bring his daughter. And for some reason, the warders relented and allowed the child in with. And because it was a lawyer's visit, it was a contact visit, right? It was looser there at Paulsmoor prison. And then Kathy came, he's going to see his lawyer, and all of a sudden, he has this little 5-year-old girl. Wow. And he spent that hour, her sitting on his lap. And he just like, he's playing with her, joking with her. And he said when he went back to his cell, he couldn't think. You know, he couldn't let go of this experience that he had. And I was watching this like on a DVD on the plane. And I was, you know, I was literally, I don't know if it just touched me the way he said it, but I was like crying and stuff, and there's people next to me.
Sure. Wow. Well, I guess, the date that all South Africans need to keep in mind, the 28th of November, the nationwide release of Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. Thank you very much to Dr. Riaad Moosa, one of the actors. Catch all of our South African stars and the international stars in this movie. It's definitely, if you're a true South African, proudly South African, you've got to check this out. We're going to go to a quick ad break. We'll be back.